Hi, everybody. So, we are back for another season of The Mainline. We're so excited to give you more content around everything happening in the cannabis industry, from science to policy to business strategies, just lifestyle, all different types of things. But today, we are especially focused on Marion, Maine. Our baby, where this show came from. So, Marion, Maine is turning 3 this weekend. We have been serving our community here in Prince George's County for 3 years now. We're so excited to celebrate with you guys. So we'll talk more about the celebration later. But in a tradition that we started last year, every year, the week of our anniversary, we're going to bring the founders on and talk about our original vision, things we've been doing in the past year, what we've been up to, and what we predict for the future of the cannabis industry. So I want to bring my co-founders up, my mother, Dr. Octavia Wiseman, and Dr. Larry Bryant. Hey,
Hello.
guys.
Hey,
Hey, hello everyone.
Hi. So it looks like you both are at your other life, your other job. You're both dentists. My mother is a general dentist, and then Dr. Bryant is an oral surgeon. Yeah, if you guys could each take a quick second and kind of tell us about your background outside of being a dispensary owner.
well, I am a general dentist. I've been practicing in Prince George's County now for 25 years. Um, the name of my practice is Mitchellville Family Dentistry, and we've been very trying to build a family structure where we see the children all the way from young children, 2 years old, up to adults. So I've been practicing there for quite some time now, moving into cannabis. It's been really interesting and fun and helping other patients. So it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, very good. And I'm Dr. Larry Bryant, also a co-founder along with the Wisemans. I've been practicing oral surgery in Prince George's County for just as long as Dr. Wiseman, about 25 years or more. And my specialty is that specialty of dentistry that treats surgical aspects of the jaws and the face. I do a lot of facial trauma, dental implants, and things like that. Um, and hopefully looking to retire soon from this job
Right.
to
Yes.
devote
Right.
more time to the cannabis industry because we're on a curve to grow and we want to expand and grow. So eventually, I want to be able to put more time into that area as well.
Totally, totally. Okay, so before we get into kind of our views on the industry and all of that stuff, I know some people have kind of heard our inception story and how we even got into this space and all of that. But personally, why did each of you decide you wanted to pursue this industry? And I can tell kind of my story as well, why I wanted to, but I'll let you guys go first, either one of you.
Okay, go ahead, Octavia.
Well, basically, most people kind of know how I got originally involved.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that I found on my own. My daughter, Hope, came to me with the idea of being involved in medical cannabis. And after doing extensive research, I felt that that would really be great for our community, for our patients, especially with people with extenuating health, issues.
Hmm.
So I got involved originally uh, through that patient aspect, helping patients with cancer and things of that sort, since I am a cancer survivor as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got involved.
Awesome. Hmm.
Yes, and Dr. Weissman, a few years back, they came to me and told me about the opportunity, and I was excited about it. I always knew all my life that cannabis was kind of um, unjustifiably demonized as a dangerous drug, um, and I always knew that one day it would change. I was hoping it would be sooner than it's kind of late now, but it's good to see the progress that finally that the truth is being told about the plant and its positive medicinal qualities. And I think we're going to see more as more research evolves, that we'll see even more medicinal indications for this plant. So I'm
Yeah.
excited about it, and I think it's a good industry to be involved in, and as it evolves and grows, and it's just going to continue to grow even more in the coming years.
Yeah, and essentially that was my first kind of attraction to the space. Most people know my story, especially if you're watching now, you probably follow us. But I was a short version of it. I was initially attracted to the economic opportunity that this space presented as a emerging industry. I didn't know how many more emerging industries I would get to see during my lifetime. That's not typical that an industry is brand new. And I knew I had an opportunity to get in at the ground floor level. And I knew that this industry could grow to be a multi-billion-dollar industry, mainly because the demand was already there. And, I had already kind of seen from the legacy market what the demand for this plant was. So I knew us uneducated consumers of the plant, if we're already using it at such high rates that already have a multi-billion-dollar illegal industry. As more research and education came out around the plant, that was only going to increase. So I knew the potential of the industry already was tremendous, and I knew that this would be an industry that a lot of major players were going to get into, and I wanted to get in at the ground floor level. So I'm so excited, about where we are as a company that we've been able to enter the space at all. A lot of businesses that started off like us haven't been able to actually penetrate the space yet. So I'm really, really proud of that. And yeah, I mean, I feel very fortunate that you both supported this dream, and that you both, I say it all the time and I'll say it again, you both put me up on your shoulders so that we can make this happen. So, okay, over the past year, Marion, Maine, we've had really great growth every year. We keep growing every month. We keep growing. So we're very fortunate there. Do you guys have anything you want to really highlight about this past year? Any just highlights that we want to just tell everybody about?
Well, um, Mary Main has really um, overseeded what my thoughts were in the very, very beginning. I knew that we could be extremely successful. I didn't know how long it would take, but I'm very proud that, in 3 years, we've been able to do what we have
Yeah,
and been able to maintain the ownership with the three of us pretty much. Um, that's been really a big thing
yeah,
that
that's huge.
bought out and they moved or sold or whatever. So I'm proud to be, in the presence of the two of you, work with you, and build Mary Main to be as big as it can be.
Yeah,
Yes, and I'm excited too for us to be able to do this because we're actually the epitome of this diversity and social equity justice thing that they're talking about. Everybody else is kind of playing lip service to it, but we're actually living the dream of it
yeah,
right now because we're actually the epitome of it. And it's been very difficult for any other minority um, businesses to get started in this space. And we've been fortunate to be able to be successful and get this far, and so the sky's the limit, so we'll continue to keep growing. I'm also excited about the many types of cannabis products that we're able to provide from our processors, because a lot of people still have this negative think, oh, you're just going to roll a joint and smoke a joint, how can that be medicine? But they don't understand that the plant has so many medicinal components, like dozens and dozens of chemicals in it that have different physiological effects on your body. And they actually now can control the amount of different terpenes and cannabinoids to have certain physiological effects. They can stimulate your appetite, they can stimulate your thought and your mood, they can help you sleep, they can reduce pain and anxiety and swelling and inflammation. So our processors now know how to tweak the composition of the terpenes and the cannabinoids to produce the medicinal effects that they want to have. So it's definitely a science behind it. And it's not just, let me roll a joint and smoke a joint, because everybody can't smoke. People that have asthma, bronchitis, and things like that, you can't smoke anything. So you have so many other products now. We got tinctures, we got lozenges, we got edibles, we got so many things that you don't have to smoke. So that's the misconception that we need to clear up with the public, is that it's not just rolling a joint and smoking it. It is based on medicine, and you don't have to smoke to get your medicine.
Right.
Yeah.
So you both you have a license to prescribe prescription medicine, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like cannabis is going to become a typical part of that practice in the future? And what do you think it's going to take to get there?
Oh, well, I'll comment on that just briefly. It's the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency of the federal government, is going to have to reschedule cannabis. That's the first thing that has to be done. Right now, it's a Schedule 1 drug, which means that it has a very high addictive and abuse potential and absolutely no medicinal value. And we know that not to be true. So number one, it's inappropriately scheduled as a number one drug, because you got 40 states that are using it medicinally now. So we know it has medicinal purposes. So that has to be the first thing they'll have to change. And most likely they'll change it from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 drug, which has to be regulated somewhat, and still will be classified sort of like a narcotic, but not a dangerous drug with no medicinal value. So it'll be changed to most likely a Schedule 3 drug. And that in a sense will allow it to be prescribed by doctors. Which actually,
there's some people that want to see cannabis completely descheduled. They don't want to see it on the controlled substance list
at all.
Does that make sense to you guys as medical professionals and understanding the medicinal value of cannabis, and also, right now, the regulations that are placed around how it's grown and how it's distributed? Do you feel like it makes sense to completely deschedule cannabis altogether?
No, I think it still needs to be scheduled, because THC in high concentrations still is not physiologically addictive, but it does have the potential for abuse. And in that case, I think it still should be regulated. And we also still have to protect it from underage children, just like you do tobacco and alcohol. So I think it still should be regulated somewhat, but definitely has to be decriminalized across the board. That's definite. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a lot of federal legislation kind of floating through the ranks right now. And there's some state legislation going on too. I think first, let's talk about what's happening in Maryland. So we know that last legislative session in 2021, the beginning of this year, and during 2020 session, there was a lot of talk about legalizing cannabis for adult use in the state, as well as kind of altering some of the medical cannabis laws and adding some regulations to our current program. None of those bills kind of went anywhere. They might, one passed through the House, didn't get through the Senate. So what do you think is gonna get it over the finish line in Maryland this year? I know in 2022 session, the speaker has announced that she is supporting, the House Speaker has announced that she is supporting passing legislation to allow for cannabis to be on the 2022 ballot. So in November, for the state to vote whether or not they want adult use cannabis. But also I've heard that some representatives are looking to still introduce legislation that would pass cannabis through typical processes. Also, they have created a work group of different members of the General Assembly that are coming up with regulations around how the program should be governed if the legislation goes through. So all that being said, what do you think is actually going to happen in 2022? And what would you like to see happen? And are there any things that we're missing right now that we can be advocating for as owners, and then as well as people watching, advocates for the industry?
Well, I'm excited about Adrienne Jones as being the new Speaker of the House. She's the first African American woman to hold that position. And speaking with her, she does have some personal reservations, but they're common things that every considerations everybody would take. She wants it to be, so that just like alcohol and tobacco, I was saying, guarded against, children should not have access to it. But since the House, the legislature itself did not pass adult use recreation, she said that according to polling, 2/3 of Maryland residents say that cannabis should be legal. So that is why she's pushing it to be on the ballot for November of next year, 2020. So it will be on the ballot voting in the midterm elections in Maryland for the people to decide whether it should be elected or not, and not just leave it up to the state senate, which is probably has not been favorable towards it. So once the people have spoken, that'll be it. So
Yeah.
it's very likely that it will pass next November.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that happen too. I know that a lot of the pushback in previous years hasn't necessarily been around whether or not they want to have cannabis. It's just how it should be governed. So a lot of people are saying, look, I'm not voting in favor of this legislation unless it encompasses, some people believe in home grow. Some people starkly are against home grow. Some people are really into the idea of social equity and inclusion, which is a topic that is kind of surrounding the industry right now, which is rightfully so. Knowing the history of cannabis and prohibition, the war on drugs, and how it has targeted certain communities. So there's like almost a sense of reparations that these new businesses can create for people who have been affected by that. But all that being said, what is something that you really want to see come out of this new legislation that will be created by the ballot initiative? I don't know. Mom, do you want to?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would like to see the medicine to be, you know, rescheduled.
Mhm.
Uh, I would like to see it go to become recreational as soon as possible, because I do believe a lot of people are missing um, on the opportunity to utilize the medicine because of the regulations that we have. And, I strongly believe the medicine can help a lot of people that aren't able to access it right now. So I think these legislative things that are happening will only make it um, better and more accessible. So that's
Mhm.
where I am with it.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of states, even people who are going through the adult use or recreational side of the program, they're still using it for medicinal purposes. But like you said, it just broadens the access and also just makes it so, we don't have as many restrictions around advertising, and you can just simply drive past a dispensary and come in with your state issued ID. That makes it a lot easier to reach a larger demographic of people. But how about you, Dr. Bryan? Is there anything you want to see specifically out of state regulations that are going to be developed?
Um, yes, I think they're going to include regulations for possession and purchasing of
Mhm.
legal cannabis. Um, and there'll be probably more licensing available for, the three licenses for growing, processing, and retail. And so there's going to be additional oversight of the cannabis businesses as adult recreational use. And of course, we always get back to this thing about reparative justice and equity, social
Yeah.
equity, and community reinvestment. I think some of the tax money that's taxed on the cannabis businesses should be reinvested in these communities where they had mass incarceration of people for minor marijuana offenses. And there should be expungement, like we've been promoting in our business. We've had an expungement clinic, and we probably should have, we will have more of those in the future. So those things are real important as far as the community development and reparations, like you said, in the community, expungement of minor marijuana offenses. So a lot more work can be done in that area. So we
Yeah.
really don't want to lose that social equity piece, because that's very,
Right.
very important, and community reinvestment of the tax money.
Totally. I know in the first round of licensing for medical in Maryland, there was no reference. The word social equity was not included in the program. So we didn't win our license under any social
Not
equity
at all.
mandate or anything of the sort. However, we've been able to survive and even thrive in our market. So I'm very happy about that. But now, as they're talking about adult use legalization, and as the industry has matured since 2015 when we applied, I'm excited that Maryland is prioritizing social equity language, and they're looking to make sure they get it right. And even, I'd say, be a leader for new states as they come on board. They're looking at some of the mistakes that other states have made and trying to get it right. So I appreciate that. I think for me, I'd also, like you said, like to see something around kind of keeping the state accountable for the tax revenue. Where is it going? Where is it being spent? And making it very clear that this money is going directly back into these communities. I'd also like to see tiered licensing, so additional types of licenses, so that smaller companies can thrive as well. You know, not every company wants to put up 200,000 square feet of cultivation space, or can they afford to? Yet they should still be able to compete. But if you only have a limited amount of licenses, and then you have all the major players coming in to apply for them, they're likely going to win them all, and it leaves no space for the smaller company. Then you just have, 20 companies in a state all cultivating, commercial grade cannabis, which is great cannabis, healthy, but there's space for kind of that boutique or bespoke cultivator. So there is I'd like to see that in Maryland. I'd like to see us have more opportunities and tiered licenses. I'd like to see it kind of, even having certain licenses reserved for certain types of people. So maybe a social equity licensee tier 3 cultivation, the smallest type of cultivation, is reserved for social equity licensees for the first year. Something along those lines. And if we're really going to push it a little bit forward, I wouldn't even mind seeing a kind of mandate to require the industry be or licenses come in on a rolling basis, and not have a program that says, okay, there are X amount of licenses. The application process is on April 1st and closes May 1st, and we're licensing companies and that's it. I think a rolling process would be great. Having to meet certain requirements and then letting the market operate a little bit more like a free market. I don't think that's the way that the Maryland legislature is going towards, but that's something I would like to see. It definitely makes for a true equitable industry, and it makes it for a more competitive free market too. So there's no advantages there when any company, as long as they're doing the right things, can get licensed. So that's another thing I'd like to see. But one of the last things I wanted to touch on are our views on federal legalization, because that's also a huge hot topic. We talked about descheduling and kind of what we felt about that. But, what are your views around federal legalization? There's a lot of bills kind of floating through Congress right now. And I even heard that they made some movement on the relief bill and adding in some language about cannabis and banking, and we have the Safe Banking Act, and we have the states. It's not called the States Act. The actual name of it is missing me right now. But the bill introduced by Senator Wyden, Booker, and who's the third senator right now? I don't know why these names are.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, but kind of what are your ideas and your thoughts around federal legalization?
Well, I kind of feel pretty much that legal could help all businesses. That it's not just about the medical cannabis industry. There are other supporting industries that are related to cannabis that will have issues federally dealing with companies that are cannabis related. So, um,
An example of that for everyone that might be confused on what she means is like, for example, if you're an accounting firm and you work with cannabis clients, you may even have trouble with banking, just because you work with cannabis clients and you accept money from clients who are plant touching.
exactly.
Mhm.
So, they have demonized marijuana,
Mhm.
cannabis, and it's time to release people of those thoughts and allow the businesses to be freer. And the only way we're going to do that is federal legalization.
Mhm.
That allows us to transport across state lines and other things that will help the industry overall. I still feel it should be scheduled, but that's just a personal opinion because I have a medical degree, so I feel that way. But I do agree that if we could reduce the federal legalization part of it, that would help the business overall be better and allow more people to be involved in it.
Mhm. I agree.
Yeah, yeah. And the rescheduling, I think, is primary because you have to take it out of Schedule One to make it federally legal. It has to be rescheduled. That's the first thing they have to do. As long as it's a Schedule One drug, it's federally illegal, and they can't move any federal laws until they reschedule it. So once it's rescheduled away from that, then I think they can address the safe banking, the banking piece. So that kind of goes hand in hand, rescheduling, and then the banking thing should come following that because it doesn't make any sense for a state legalized program that can't
Mhm.
use the bank, you know. So
Right.
I think those are the things that have to be put in place first. And there's some pros and cons against that. And some people say, you know, the banking thing, if it's changed too quickly, that'll, like you said, open the gates for the big players to come in and just buy everything up because they have all the money. But it's at the same time, then the small cannabis businesses also will be able to open up their credit lines and they can be fund a legitimate business like any other business. So the banking rescheduling, federally rescheduling, the banking, and get rid of 280E. Everybody knows that it's an antiquated regulation, an antiquated IRS rule that doesn't make any sense, for cannabis these days. So that definitely has to be done away with
Yeah.
cannabis. So
Oh, I totally.
those are the two major things: rescheduling and then the banking and getting rid of the 280E. That will help the state legal program uh, cannabis businesses tremendously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree 100%. I think that what's going to happen when federal legalization comes, I think there's going to be some type of autonomy that every state can create for themselves. I think that states are still, these state programs that have been created are not just going to go away. There's a lot of money and effort put into developing them, and a lot of money that has gone into developing these individual businesses. And there are some MSOs that literally have perfect setups in every single state they operate in. And it would be extremely costly if, like, I think a lot of people think as soon as it becomes federally legal, it's like, oh, I can ship my cannabis from California to Maryland, and it won't be like that. I don't believe it'll be like that on day one. I believe that it will be a process. I believe every state will still operate in silos. I believe that states will not be able to just do interstate commerce off of day one. I do believe the things that you mentioned, though, Dr. Bryant, will happen. Day one, we'll have access to banking, research will happen. I do believe states will begin to group together and create silos of interstate commerce. And I think eventually we'll get to a more normal market. But I 100% agree. And I love that there is a focus and kind of a true emphasis on creating an equitable industry, especially because of the way this industry was built. So I'm excited about all of that. I'm so excited for us that we are entering in year 3. We have a really, really awesome celebration planned this weekend. So if you're a current patient, make sure you're shopping with us this Friday. We have some really awesome discounts for current patients. And then if you're a new patient, of course, come in and you'll definitely get to take advantage of some discounts as well. But if you've been with us for a while, make sure you're checking your text messages because you're going to get some really cool goodies in your inbox on Friday, and you'll be able to come in and take advantage of some really great discounts. And then on Saturday, we are having one of our infamous block parties. So in addition to Patient Appreciation Day on Friday, we'll be having our farmers market that we do every Friday in collaboration with the Capital Market of 20743. So they'll be there Friday. And then Saturday, we're going to have some games for you. We're going to have our expungement clinic that we have typically every year. We're doing that in partnership with Vireo Health and Minorities for Medical Marijuana. So if you have a medical cannabis, or not medical, if you have a cannabis related anything that you need to get expunged from your record, make sure you're coming out this Saturday, 12 p.m. at Marion, Maine. Address is up on the screen right now. We want to see you. We want to help you. And we have attorneys on staff there to be able to help you through that process. And they'll follow up with you afterwards. We're going to have a musical performance by one of our very own. She is amazing. So definitely come check that out. That will start around 3:00. We have a DJ, like I said, tons of discounts going on for those current patients in the store and new patients, or if you're just interested in the program, we can walk you through how to become a patient in Maryland and then our process here at Marion, Maine. And then lastly, we have some CBD vendors and other cannabis-related products that will be sold for those of you that might not have a medical card but just want to participate in some of the festivities. So that's what we got going on this Saturday. Thanks to everybody that has commented, and we're so excited to be back online with you guys every Wednesday here on the main line. You can catch us here on Facebook, YouTube, and now we're streaming on LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn watching, we're really excited to kind of get that new platform up. We're excited to get back to connecting with you guys. And we have a lot of really great things planned this season. So do you guys have anything you want to say to exit us out?
Well, that has been a part of the Marion, Maine team. I appreciate them. I appreciate their help. I appreciate their learning and their growing with us. I appreciate all of the patients that come in. They're fun, they're interactive. They always like to give us their, opinions and how they feel about the business and about cannabis in general and what things they like. So trust me, we hear you. We appreciate you. And, we want you to come more and what you like and what things you need to be healthy and happy so that we can continue to grow and be all that you want us to be as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, and I want to say shout out to our managers. I want to say send out kudos to Dexter Parker, our dispensary manager, Justin Molyneux, and Malachi, and all the other bud tenders. I think everybody's doing an excellent job. We wouldn't be as successful as we are without you and your hard work and dedication to the shop and the industry. And I want to shout out to Rob Black, who, marketing manager, putting events together and things together like this. He's doing an excellent job on the marketing, and Hope and Dr. Wiseman for their management leadership. I think we got an excellent team. Everybody's working hard and dedicated to not only just our own personal business, but just to the industry as a whole, because we want to see it be successful, throughout, the country, everywhere. So
yes,
we're on a rise, and I'm excited to be riding this wave. So it's very exciting. And we appreciate all our patients. Like Dr. Wiseman said, we're here for you. If you have any questions or any things that we can improve upon, please let us know. And any things that we can help you with. We have very informative staff that can help you select products that will help you through any kind of symptoms that you're having. So just ask us, and we'll try to see if we can help you out. Okay, what you
Yep,
say there? All
definitely. Okay, guys. So
right.
I will see everybody this Saturday. I'll see current patients. Definitely join us on Friday for Patient Appreciation Day, and then come back Saturday for all the fun. All right, guys. This is the main line. See you next time.